Good morning, Internet land. We are just waiting for our straggler Instagram to catch up as always, and then we will go live with episode 27 of DIY Wellness. We're just going to give Instagram 20 more seconds to catch up with the rest of us. Here we go. Okay. Everybody's live now. So, good morning and welcome to another episode of DIY Wellness, the show for people taking personal growth into their own hands. On this show, we like to explore different strategies for improving quality of life and well-being. Take what resonates and toss the rest, because the whole idea here is to decrease your suffering, not to feel duty-bound to some other modality or some other method. So, how am I taking personal growth into my own hands today? Well, by tapping into my creative genius. Thank you very much. But that's not arrogance, that's science according to NASA. Really, yes, NASA has studied minds like mine and said categorically, without a shadow of a doubt, that I am a creative genius. But what if I told you that you were too? Today, we're going to discuss these things: the truth behind your innate creative genius, why this is the best possible news during times of social and political upheaval, and most importantly, how to begin to reclaim your innate capacity for creativity and genius now, no matter how old you are and no matter what happened to you. So let's get into it. The first thing you got to know is that human creative genius is innate in all of us. Yes, this is proven, absolutely proven. There was a study done for NASA by NASA scientists back in 1968 by researchers named George Land and Jarman. I forget Jarman's first name, so sorry. And in that study, what they found was it was a longitudinal study. So they studied these people from age kindergarten all the way through till college. And what they found was that 98% of the people tested were geniuses in kindergarten. In kindergarten, they scored as geniuses on these tests. By high school, only 2% scored as geniuses. This is the same group of people. So, and this is like a big, giant group of people. So creativity is educated out of us. We are born curious. It's now seen by some researchers, curiosity specifically, as one of the primary emotions. So my personal belief is that our innate sense of curiosity is meant to be how we navigate our lives. And that innate sense of curiosity is also what makes us creative geniuses, which we all are until school gets a hold of us and it's educated out of us. I mean, okay, according to the study, 98% of us are. But I'm going to say that 2% of people were just having a bad day that day, or they were given peanut butter and grape jelly instead of peanut butter and raspberry jelly, which is what they really wanted. And so they were a little bit off, because I really think that it's all of us. It's all of us. We are born this way. Not 98% of us, but all of us. So if we tap back into that curiosity that we had as children, that will lead us back towards our bliss, and that will lead us back towards our creative genius. So when we follow our natural inclination toward wonder, it's what Joseph Campbell called following your bliss. And it's like a way to reclaim childlike openness, like an openness to possibility, the same thing that we had as kids that makes us geniuses. So Campbell says, follow your bliss, which is like the thing that brings you deep aliveness and meaning, because when you do, quote, doors will open where you didn't know there were going to be any. And so this is a way of explaining that our bliss, our curiosity, is a guiding star, like a unique pathway through life's forest without a path. And by listening inwardly for those sparks of joy, you align with your personal holy grail. And you dissolve ego worries, and that allows creativity and purpose to unfold naturally. So we're in turbulent times right now. Following your bliss reconnects you to a sense of your own motivation and your own imaginative problem-solving skills. These are essential qualities, not just for individual well-being, but for collective renewal and innovation. So the thing to take away here is that creativity isn't a talent. It's a universal potential that resides in all of us, that institutional pressures have started to erode. And by the time we're adults, for most of us, have completely eroded. So the key takeaway here is this: creativity is not a rare gift. It is your birthright. There was a guy who did a famous TED Talk called Tom Wojcik, and he's famous for this thing called the Marshmallow Challenge, which is a simple task, and like it's a team building exercise. But here's how it works: you get a 5-person team, and you get 20 sticks of uncooked spaghetti, 1 yard of tape, 1 yard of string, and a single marshmallow. And they had 18 minutes to build the tallest freestanding tower that could support the marshmallow on top. And what they this what they did was they tested groups of like CEOs, MBAs, lawyers, architects even, and kindergarten classes. And what they discovered was shocking. The kindergartners consistently outperformed every other group, even architects, on building a taller and more stable tower. And the secret was that they iterated immediately, which means they like tried stuff out. They were messy, they were sloppy. They put the marshmallow on top and saw if it fell in, and they had so many towers collapse and collapse and collapse and collapse. But because they just were trying things without being afraid of failure, just following their curiosity, they outperformed. And the adult teams would overplan, and they would wait till the very end to try to put the marshmallow on top, and then their building would collapse, and they didn't have any extra time to go and try another plan and another plan and another plan. So this beginner's mindset, this rapid prototyping and learning by doing, embracing failure, this is the way forward. And it reveals that rigid expertise can become a liability. The architects lost to the kindergartners. You got to let that sink in for a minute. So this is a powerful reminder that innovation in life often trumps over analysis. So when we were younger, we were geniuses. NASA and marshmallows both agree. So that's proof. So now that you know you're a genius, let's talk about how we can save the world with it. No pressure though. But point number 2 is unlocking your creative genius. And this is using our imagination to create the world we want to live in. There is resilience springs up through creativity. So in systemic collapse, divergent thinking becomes survival and renewal. Divergent thinking was the exact skill they were testing for in that NASA study, where the kindergartners were all geniuses, and then by high school they weren't geniuses anymore. It was about their ability to think outside the box, and like how many different uses of a paperclip could they think of, or you draw half a shape, and like how many innovative ways could they think to fill in that shape. So the point here is that type of divergent thinking in a crisis. That's what we need. That sparks new solutions. And we all have that divergent thinking when we're kids, all of us. So we just need to find a way to reclaim it and bring it back, which we're going to get into in a minute. So this reminds me of that quote from Rumi. He says, "Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there." So Rumi's field beyond right and wrong is a space of creative possibility. It's the place we can go to, we the artists, we the creators, we the philosophers, we the ones seeing through the illusion and seeing the thing crumbling and seeing how it needs to be rebuilt. We can go out to that field beyond right and wrong, beyond outrage, beyond the sense of injustice, beyond victimhood, and we can say, let's be creative, let's create. We can still do that. That can still happen even as things are collapsing. And in fact, it must. It must. Creative genius at scale can reweave social fabric. Artists, healers, and innovators are the new first responders. That's me. That's you guys. Post-traumatic growth is a study. It's the study basically of like how psychological change can lead to instead of post-traumatic stress, it can lead to post-traumatic growth. So actually, here's the definition. Positive psychological change experienced as a result of the struggle with highly challenging life circumstances. So rather than recovery, post-traumatic growth involves genuine transformation, new strength, deeper relationships, and an often richer spiritual life. Post-traumatic growth happens when we respond creatively to this crisis that we're in, as opposed to being overwhelmed by it. So emerging research even shows that engaging in creative expression like art, writing, problem-solving exercises like the Marshmallow Spaghetti Challenge, they actually serve as a catalyst for growth. So creativity helps survivors reframe trauma narratives, find new possibilities, and tap into their meaning-making and their purpose processes. This builds resilience, empathy, and wisdom. And so we're going to jump on this now. We're not just leaving it to trauma survivors. We're all going through the trauma of a societal collapse. And so we're going to jump on this. It's like William Blake said, what is now proved was once imagined. So let's start imagining the better world. And let's start reclaiming our own creative genius so that we can actually imagine the better world with all the skill and all the prowess and all the birthright power we were born with, and then begin to create it. So this is point number 3. How do we recapture our innate creative genius? So here's a couple of the exercises from Landon Jarman's study that they did with NASA with the kids. So list 10 uses for a paperclip in 2 minutes. And the thing is, like, 10 is fine, but like, set a timer for 2 minutes and don't just list 10, list as many as you can in 2 minutes and let the timer go out. And then the next day, pick a different mundane object and list as many uses as you can for that. And then after you've done that for a couple days, go back to the paperclip and do it again, but you can't use any of the same answers that you used a week ago. So, and that's going to force innovation. It forces creativity, and it creates this thing in our synapses because we have brain plasticity. So now instead of just going in the default mode network like they always do, they go ooh, and they find new things, and your brain grows, and it's really, really exciting. And you will end up having a new lived experience in the world because of this ability to retap into your creative genius. So you can also embrace this like yes and thing that they do in comedy improv. In comedy improv, the surefire way to tank a scene is when somebody says, "Look at him snowblowing," and you go, "Oh, that's not a snowblower, it's a rake." And then everyone's like, "Wah, wah," because you can't say no. You have to say yes and build on it. That skill is actually a great psychological skill too. So if you see something happening in the world and you want to go, "Well, that's fine, but," just remove "but" from your vocabulary if you can and replace it with "and." It wires your brain for this ability to expand into and hold paradox, to include, and to be creative and resilient. So instead of saying like, yeah, we can still go to the store, but it's raining, you can say, yeah, we can still go to the store and it's raining. And like, you might feel the same way inside from at the beginning as you start to do this, like, oh, it's raining. But when you begin to replace "but" with "and," it signals to your brain that it's not a consolation anymore, that it's not some kind of like less than thing. And over time, what that does is build psychological flexibility and adaptability in your life. So use these practices. Try to switch "but" for "and," and try to find innovative, creative uses for mundane objects for a couple minutes a day. 2 minutes a day will drastically shift you into your right brain thinking, your right brain way of being, rather, instead of your left brain way of thinking. And that right brain mode of being is exactly what we need to shift the systems on this planet towards social justice. So keep creating, being creative now, whether in your painting studio, your leadership conference, your administrative emails, or your parenting style, is needed more than ever. Old paradigms are breaking down, and as they do, we will need our creative genius to find new ways forward. So it's a good thing that we all have it. So here's a recap. 1, you are wired for genius. 2, in upheaval, your imagination is a lifeline. And 3, simple drills unlock this power. So you can find more drills like that, like the ones I just shared with you, in the researcher's own landmark book. It's called Breakpoint and Beyond: Mastering the Future Today. What an apt title. If we don't need to get on top of mastering the future today, then I don't know what day we're supposed to start doing that. So practice this. Tap into your creative genius, and then you will see the way forward to a better world, whether that's in your own internal landscape, in your family, in your community, or globally. So try these creativity exercises and share your favorite uses in the comments. If what you heard resonates, then please share this video with those who you know who might appreciate this message and could use a nudge or a reminder towards their own creative genius. And if you have questions about the topics, or you try anything out and you want to let us know how it goes, please do so in the comments. I want to hear all about it and help you get unstuck and celebrate your wins. Because remember, DIY wellness means do it yourself, but it does not mean to do it all by yourself. We'll be back again next week, Monday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Until then, keep taking personal growth into your own hands. Much love. I trust you, humanity.